This is Brian from the soon-to-be champion Skybusters, and you are listening to Josh and Gar on the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix on Spotify.
It is Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. It was a beautiful Tuesday. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 157th edition of the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of the lovely hosts, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, by our other lovely hosts, the Joshua Mitchell. Josh, say hi to the folks out there. Oh, preemptive. We appreciate everyone who chats along with us in the Discord. I can see a bunch of chats in here from Al. And I scroll up a little bit more and I see, Al is very active. We really appreciate Al. I don't know if I see anyone else within the last week here. Big shout out to Al. Appreciate you keeping the Discord alive. Appreciate you chatting ball with the boys. Segment start times down in the description below. If those like to skip around, thank you at Levi Oki Illustration on Instagram for all the beautiful art that people can see. I use it as my profile picture everywhere. And Josh, how you doing?
I doing. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. It was a big tease at during the last pod. The last pod's like intro doing session was a big Tutu Twain football birthday party. How do you feel like it went? How do we feel like the event was? Waffle bar was great. The cinnamon rolls with caramel were amazing. So I don't know if you guys made those or if one of the rents or family members brought those, but I would do some dirty, nasty things for one of the, a tray or a pan of those rolls because they were amazing.
Yep. No, every time we have like a brunch over at Nikita's family, her parents make that, her mom does. And they made it this time. We had a few left over, so I had to restrain myself from eating like 8 of them for breakfast yesterday. So I had 4 yesterday, 4 today.
Wow, that's moderation, Josh. We love that. That's a moderating king right there. That's great progress.
Yeah. How was your weekend, Gar?
It was good. Had a lovely time at the party. Myself, I played with I forget what the Magna blocks or whatever. What was I playing with there for a bit?
Magnetiles.
Okay, there's Magnetiles and Mega Blocks I was playing with. And then I don't even remember the name of Cassie's kid, but I was friends, Carly maybe?
Carly.
I was friends with Cassie's kid for a while. We were playing ball, we were playing cars, we were playing animals, dude. We were getting lit in the basement there. I'm still a kid at heart. And love playing, so I really appreciated the party. Buzz Lightyear, Come in Star Command was a fucking hit, dude. So, can't take all the credit, of course. You or more realistically, Nikita had to put it on the registry. I wouldn't have known to buy it necessarily on my own. But once it was on the registry, I had to fucking click purchase right away because like I told you as I was leaving, Josh, no offense to Nikita's list that she put together. You guys have a child to raise. You have a lot of different needs. I wasn't going to buy some stupid fucking Montessori fucking coloring or, shape block, whatever nonsense, dude. This kid's getting real toys, okay? So that was my philosophy when I saw the list and I had to pull the triggers because I saw Buzz Lightyear. So, how was your football Sunday? Anything interesting happened on Sunday or Monday? If you were able to catch any games or not really?
Yeah, I got to watch a few games. It was all right on Sunday. I mean, I'm sure many people are well aware that this week stunk for football as far as points scored. That goes for fantasy and real life. I'm looking at a stat line here that the weeks through 6 weeks, the points per game. Week 1 was 49.8. Week 2, 44.1. Week 3, 43.6. Week 4, 41. Week 5, 45. Week 6, 36.7. And
Jeez.
So So those 36.7 points per game for week 6 are the lowest league-wide average for a week since week 8 of 2007, when Titans coach Mike Vrabel was AFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Mike Vrabel, how you doing?
So yeah, overall it was just a very down week of football, and as once we get into kind of one of the later segments, I'll explain why I'm still dead.
Interesting. Okay, well, I appreciate the, quote unquote stat that. Appreciate that little stat there. That's interesting. It's a little spoiler for later. I had an amazing fantasy week, so I don't know if I just picked all the right players and all the right teams, but I don't know. I had a pretty good week. Sorry to hear that scoring was down for everyone else, but maybe I just found my niche. Are we ready to move on here, Josh? Are you ready for your rhyming wrap up?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and hit us, big dog.
Let's see how it goes. I just typed it and didn't proof anything, so
didn't proof, didn't rehearse. Come on, dude, we're doing
freestyle.
This is season 6 here, Josh. You gotta take this shit seriously. Podcast 157.
I gotta get some water.
Oh my fucking god! Did you actually go get
my
water?
throat's scratchy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, well, it's kind of scaring me because Nikita had a sore throat and was sick last week, and Asher was, and now it's just
Josh. If you got me fucking sick at your fucking 2-year-old birthday party, I swear to God, I just got my flu shot. I just got my fucking updated COVID vaccine. If I still get sick, I'm coming
for you. What is that for you? Number 10? 11?
What vaccine?
Yeah,
5. I get the flu shot every year. Do you count those?
No, I don't get the flu shot. If something's gonna kill me, just let it kill me.
All right, Kirk. If I die, I die. All right, now are you ready? Have we stalled enough?
Yep.
Sure, I need water for my scratchy throat.
Yep.
All right.
Week 6 started with a divisional battle that wasn't a battle at all. Kansas City beat the Broncos to keep Denver's year in free fall. Across the pond, there was a match that gave fans a big thrill. The Ravens toppled the Titans and may lose Ryan Tannehill. Tyreek is speedy, Waddle's quick, and Mostert is fast. The Dolphins won again, and the Panthers are still last. The Saints pass game was solid despite the team failing to win. Comparing Shaheed to Moss in a loss to the Texans should be a sin. The Jags beat the Colts, which seems to be a trend as of late. The numbers don't lie, as they've won 5 of the last 8. The Bengals and Seahawks should have been a shootout with high scores. Instead, Cincy clung on to win with the weakest of roars. The NFC North matchups used to be considered quite tough, yet the Vikes barely won to a Bears backup quarterback. Woof, that's rough. This whole week was wacky, but the Niners lost to Cleveland is a big talker. Not just because it's Cleveland, but because they lost to PJ Walker. The Raiders beat New England after Jimmy G broke his back, yet Devontae did diddly on offense, which to me is just whack. Tampa Bay's offense did little and floundered, much like the fish. Lions fans got another win, bringing them closer to their wish. I guess the Rams and Cardinals played this week as well. Nothing of note happened outside of LA winning, as far as I can tell. If it's not Freaky Friday, it's Silly Sunday. If it's not Freaky Friday, is Silly Sunday the name we'd choose? As Hurts looked like Wilson, and the Jets win while Eagles lose. Josh Allen looked terrible for 3 quarters and change, but Tyrod did what he could to keep winning out of the Giants' range. On Monday, the Chargers charged like only the Chargers can charge. Kellen Moore's revenge game failed, making McCarthy's brain look large. And the Bears stink.
That was beautiful, Josh. Do you find that the rhyming wrap-up is getting easier or more difficult as the season goes? You've done about 6 of them now.
Yeah, it's yes and no. Like, I feel like it's getting easier to just kind of sit down and bust them out each week.
Busting them.
Yeah, just figuring, like, just picking 1 or 2 things. And like the Rams and Cardinals, I know that they played, and I know that Cooper Kupp had an amazing game. Kyron Williams got hurt, but it's like, I didn't pay attention to that game. I didn't look into it in detail. Nothing big happened. So it's like, okay, let's just, they played. And so I just point out who won. It doesn't need to go into detail. Jimmy G broke his back. Devontae didn't do anything, so I talked about that. It's literally just a recap of what I see on Reddit between Sunday evening and Tuesday afternoon.
So we're really just taking a peek behind the lens of the inner workings of Josh's brain more than anything. This is how Josh experienced football this weekend.
Yeah, it's actually all in rhyme. Like how when they're in like movies or TV shows, they take a look inside the person's brain and then they show like a bunch of little mini thems working.
Yep.
Mine is just literally sitting in Whoville reading Dr. Seuss books about football.
I love that. That's a great mental picture. Thank you for your word art, Josh. Oh, fuck. All right, are we ready to move on, Josh?
Yeah.
What are you? You won't even get this reference, but are you fucking LA Knight, dude?
Dan Campbell. Yeah, man.
They talk more similar than different for sure. But no one that listens to this pod will appreciate that reference. Moving on, Josh. We're again not going to play the bit. I'm not going to play it every week. Not the full thing, but we'll go ahead and we'll just. Oh no! Oh, here we go.
You have fire in your gut? Better light the fire pretty fast.
This bit is brought to you by John Gannon being a goon. And Josh, I will go first. I, of course, as always, have a couple different fires in my gut. As we know, fire in your gut can come in different shapes and sizes. The first fire in my gut, Josh, is going to go to C-SPAN. I absolutely love watching the inner workings of the government, whether I'm watching the House floor, watching the Senate floor, listening to the live listening to the live oral arguments of the Supreme Court. I love me some C-SPAN, and boy, today did not disappoint, whether it was in a caller into the C-SPAN's little, I forget, the Washington Journal, something like that, lovely little segment they do, to watching Jim Jordan lose his first and maybe only vote to get the speakership. C-SPAN was electric today, and thank you, government workers, for bringing us that beautiful insight. Of course, Josh... I guess technically kind of me too, but no, I work for a sovereign nation. I do not work for the U.S. government. So Josh, as always, I also have a little bit of, gut rumblies. That fire in my gut is brought to me by all the turnovers and all the fucking drops and all the other things that the Vikings are just self-inflicting week after week after week. Kirk would have had, or maybe not Kirk specifically, but we as a team, I think Kirk would have had 2 more turnovers this week. I think one was called back due to penalty. I don't know what the pace we need to set is to have that record for most turnovers in the season, but good God, we are sprinting in that direction, and the refs bailed us out of one of them this last week. It is just despicable to watch. Again, Al called it out. Hawkinson's hands are too full of cash. We had other drops as well. Madison is a complete dud. I think either KJ or Addison had a brutal drop as well. Powell, maybe. It's just tough to watch. I mean, I knew the Vikings were going to be bad. But when it's like that, it's like, come on, guys, we won, and I'm fucking disappointed, and I got fire in my gut over it. So that's how my weekend was, Josh. Multiple fires and multiple guts. How about you?
Yeah, I would say that overall the main fire in my gut, the main takeaway that just kind of makes me sick to my stomach. So the rumblers is just the overall clock management and inefficient or inability to just clock management. Tyrod Taylor for the Giants kind of blew the game there at the end or not the game because it only was a couple plays, but at the end of the first half with the run play on third down, no timeouts, can't do it. And then the end of the game, I believe he scrambled and just ran 7 seconds off the clock. So just silly mistakes like that. He's a professional. Yes, he's not their starter, but Tyrod Taylor's been in the league. He should know better. And then just overall, how many ineligible offensive linemen downfield penalties are we going to get this year? I looked it up last night, and we're at like 30%. It's running pretty heavy. Like there's more than one per game. It feels like.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's not really something I plugged into or pay attention to at all. But if it's an epidemic, Josh, I would trust you to know.
Well, I'm just like, it feels like it's a little bit quicker trigger finger for those kinds of calls on those RPOs than in the past few years.
Sounds like a point of emphasis for our refs this year,
Yeah, but apparently grabbing a fumble while inbounds and then having your foot tap the line after you get control of the ball is not a turnover. I assume that's one that you were referencing when you said the refs bailed you out.
That is the one. Yep.
Okay. Car, did you have a question for one of our guests?
Oh, Josh, I did, and I always do. I need to make sure I have them in the right order here. Forky, what did the Vikings say when they could barely beat the Bears?
I'm trash.
Josh, you got a question?
Yeah, Forky. How did Josh do in fantasy this week?
Trash?
And finally, Forky, what should I think when I'm looking at the remains of all the fucking Arby's I ate on Sunday?
You're just like me. Trash.
Hell yeah, brother. It was delicious. Oh, fuck. All right, Josh, moving on to our weekly recap here. The people need to know how good or bad we are at football so they know whether or not they should listen to our fantasy football podcast and our advice. How'd we do in fantasy this week, Josh? What is your grain of salt?
Well, much like the Green Bay Packers, week 6 was my bye week. And so, yeah.
Like bye to fantasy success?
Yeah, basically. I went 3-6. I lost against the median in all 3 leagues.
No.
So 3-3, I guess, technically. So overall, I'm 33-21, still at a 61.11% win ratio. Not the worst, not the best. I could be doing better. Kind of reflects evenly in the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated. I am 199 and 131 for a 60.3 win percentage. The Victoria's Secret League, I've had back-to-back weeks where I was the second lowest scoring team. The only difference is this week I lost compared to last week. I actually won my matchup.
Wow.
And so that is my lowest percent. I'm at 42% win in that league. Next is the Butt, Sweat, and Beers League. My team can't put it together. 53% in that league. Gar,
so you're just
brag about your teams.
You're just completely unaware of what Victoria's Secret is, then, huh?
Well, yeah, I am 5-1 against in head-to-head, and 2-4 in against the median. So my team plays good defense, I guess.
That secret is locked down. Yeah, Josh, as alluded to earlier and by you just then, I had a pretty decent fantasy week. I went 9-1, and I'm actually a little salty about it. I did have at least one, if not 2, 3 lucky wins in here, but the one loss I got was in my most expensive league, and going down to the intellectual property Josh Allen Bunker Incorporated, I was 9-2. I could have only lost to 2 teams, so that's a classic bad beat. Third highest score of the week, and I get a loss. My only loss of the week. I wanted a perfect week so bad. But yeah, 9-1 on the week, which puts me to, including 2 median games, which puts me to 45-15 on the year, so 75% win percentage. That's pretty dang good. Still alive in both guillotine leagues as well. Scrolling down a bit to the intellectual property of Josh Allen Bunker Incorporated, I went 79-29 this week. That puts me overall at 446 and 233. So that's a win percentage of 657, or a batting average of 657. So my 75 is a bit of a boost. I'm certainly being held down by my dynasty league, in which I'm 21-33 on the year. That's a less than 40% win percentage, so worse than your worst league, if I remember correctly. So yeah, my 75% is a little overinflated. A couple lucky wins hidden here and there, but have 3 teams above 70% win percentage, so we'll take that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more teams within, above 60% or above. So I feel pretty good about how we're doing fantasy this year. Obviously, I don't want to count my eggs before they hatch, but it looks like I should be cash flow positive by the end of the year. Just based on my early success, I should be coasting. I should be able to coast in the playoffs, even if I have some bad beats here to end the year. It's always nice to start hot, and then if you have a couple bad games in there, that you should still make the dance. Josh, how'd you do in FanDuel this week, or how did the people do in FanDuel this week?
Trash.
Oh, no.
One of the lower weeks, top 3 weekly totals. Vikes number man 122.24. Levi Oki, Caramel Bear 119.56, and Bradley Knupp with 117.2. The top 3 leaderboard, there has been a little bit of a shakeup. Levi Oki is at the top with 612.56. Right behind him is Vikes number man with 610.08, and then Gar, you jumped in the third at 605.1.
What? Me? Top 3?
Yep. So it looks like you had like a 107 this week.
Something like that. It was above 100, and I know in my top 5 I've still got 2 sub-100 scores, so just need a couple good more base scores, and I'll be right up there with the best of them. I believe Bradley, who we've seen in the top 3 multiple times this week, I believe Bradley is just in 4th, and Josh, I believe you're in 5th in the overall leaderboard. So we've, we're seeing some strangers up here. We used to see Jack up here, but Josh, I think it might be our time. It might be our year for you and me to be competing for the prize this year for the first time ever. And I'm pretty excited. A lot of weeks left.
Jack decided his podcast needed their own FanDuel challenge. It's a new and original idea, so they did that. That's a joke because he's been in ours for like 4 years. But I guess if there's only limits, then we wouldn't have been able to merge them. Yeah, and then Derek's right behind me, so Derek's a regular. I've got my lowest score as far as in my top 5 is 89. So yeah, it's. I thought that I was going to have to create a new segment called Forky's FanDuel Follies, and then just have it be my team.
Trash?
But thanks to your cousin being your cousin, T got the lowest scoring team this week.
T. He was too busy focusing on his sleeper picks, dude. He had an 8-piece, $5 into 500 or 450 or whatever it was. Good for him. It's still not too late. I know at least one of our avid listeners, Nikita, listens to every show. At least last time I checked, maybe she's fallen off. But Nikita, still not too late. You were the ultimate champion last year, I believe, if not second. So you still got 10 weeks left or 12 weeks left to put together your best 5 scores. It's not too late. We have 14 people in there. I think we only average 12 entrants a week, so we still got 6 more spots at least. If anyone would like to play along, only $10. I'm still going to charge you the full price because you have every chance to win. But yeah, it's not too late. If anyone would like to join, spread the word. If you could, be a friend, tell a friend. Josh, are we ready to go to the market here?
Yeah.
Bacon? You don't put bacon in your body. Why not? The worst thing you could put in your body.
I love HAWG.
It's fried fat.
I eat everything on the pig except the squeal. Oink.
That was the opening bell, Josh, and the HAWG Market is open. We are here to buy and sell, Josh. There's no holding, there's no staying, there's no wait and seeing. We are buying or we are selling, Josh. Okay, and so we will know whether you want to eat everything on these hogs but the squeal, or if these hogs are just fried fat, dude. First, Josh, I believe this is maybe our first repeat. I don't remember. I'm not going to keep track, but this might be our first repeat hog of the year. We are talking about wide receiver 5 for the Carolina, and he plays for the Carolina Panthers. This is Adam Thielen. Go crazy, Detroit Lakes. He is coming on to his bye week this week, but he has had a hot go at the season. Since week 2, he's been electric. I didn't even bother to write down his stats. He's wide receiver 5. Everyone knows Adam Thielen has been balling. The first week was bad, but he's been good ever since. Going into his bye week, Josh, I believe last time you said you would sell Adam Thielen. Are you now a believer? Would you buy Adam Thielen? Or is this another time? Would you want to double down on your stance and say sell high, get all the value you can, because Mr. DL is going to let people down soon enough?
I guess, at this point, I changed my tune. I'd say buy him. If you can get him for a solid price, I'd buy Adam Thielen right now. He is lighting it up. He's trying to beat that Father Time feller.
Oof, and for now, he is succeeding. All right, so Adam Thielen.
I eat everything on the pig except the squeal.
Moving on, Josh, to running back 6 on the year, even though he missed a couple weeks, and I don't know if these, I don't know, these are the rankings in Sleeper at the time. I'm not going to verify them. But running back for the Indianapolis Colts is Zach Moss. In week 6, he still had a 50% snap share as Jonathan Taylor ramps up. He had a rushing touchdown. He also had 7 targets and 6 receptions, so potentially more value built in PPR formats than not, but Josh, do we think that there's a future home for Zach Moss? Is this going to be a permanent committee? Or do we want to sell Zach Moss for anything we can still get for him while Jonathan Taylor eats everything left?
This is a tough one for me. I would say that at this point, maybe find a JT hater and sell Zach Moss to him. That's kind of where I'm at, because I do feel like they're just going to ease JT back in. But on the exact same flip side, I could also see it being a buy situation. It's a tough one, Gar, but at this point, gut says, you know what? Gut says buy Zach Moss, because people who are going to be afraid that JT is going to come back from that injury, the pup list, whatever, and then he's going to take all the snaps. I think that they're going to have it be a little bit more of that 50% snap share, keep his legs fresh, so then he could potentially be trade bait in the future.
Okay, Zach Moss has earned his way into Josh's buy list. That makes Zach Moss.
I eat everything on the pig except the squeal.
All right, Josh, we'll move on. This might be another repeat, actually, now that I think about it. We're talking about tight end 12 for the Atlanta Falcons, the Kyle Pitts. For the last 2 weeks, he's had 12 fantasy points. One was built off a lot of receptions. One was built off a touchdown. But, Josh, Is it finally time for Kyle Pitts to succeed? Or do you sell him right now hoping some sucker will give you a flyer for him?
He is definitely on that sell list. History tends to tell us the story, and Kyle Pitts had a solid rookie year for the most part when you compare him to other tight ends. And then last year he fell off the face of the earth, and he started this trend or this year in that absence as well. I think that this is more of a situation where Desmond Ridder just accidentally threw him the ball, and so it is going to be a sell for me.
All right, Kyle Pitts.
It's fried fat.
Moving on, Josh. I was going to do this guy's teammate, but I knew what your answer was going to be, so I had to do him instead. We're talking about running back 20 for the Cleveland Browns. This is Jerome Ford. In week 6, with Kareem Hunt back coming off the bye, he still had a 50% snap share. He went 17 carries for 84 yards, which was very efficient, with a 4.94 yards per carry. Josh, Jerome Ford, are you going to eat everything on this hog with the squeal, or is he fried fat to get any value left that you can?
I am going to buy him. I think that he is. I have him in a lot of leagues that I'm in. I think that he's a solid producer, even at that 50% snap share. It might actually be more beneficial to him to keep his leg fresh. 4.94 yards per carry is not anything to sneeze at. And I believe that was against the 49ers too. So that's a very solid
they beat
carry
the Niners,
against that.
Dude.
Yeah, that's a very solid carry and stat line for the one of the number one touted defenses. So I would say buy Jerome Ford if you can, especially if you're going to need a running back after some of the injuries that happened this past week, or you're just needing some sort of flex play.
Yeah, we're getting deep into the Cy weeks and the Cy injuries. So, I mean, Jerome Ford definitely could be in people's starting lineups. All right, so Josh is saying...
I eat everything on the pig.
He's in mine.
All right, Josh, this is for sure a repeat because I definitely remember I asked you about him week 2, I guess after in the week 1 review. But he's at an unbalanced season so far. God, words are coming to me so hard today. This is, of course, wide receiver 25 for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Calvin Ridley. He's had 2 good games, which I think were 17 or 20 plus, something like that. 3 bad games, which were single digits for sure, and then 1 fine game, which is about 10 points in half-point PPR. Calvin Ridley, he's worth a flex based on the ranking, but he's been pretty inconsistent. And T-Law's optimistic to play. He's not going to miss a lot of time. But Calvin Ridley has been inconsistent. Is this a player? Do you enjoy starting consistent players, or do you want to sell someone like that and go for something more reliable?
I do think that he's still a buy. I think people who are frustrated with his production would be willing to and are willing to sell him. You can get a good price for him. That entire offense has been kind of wishy-washy. I know Christian Kirk had a few down weeks as well. He is a little bit more consistent, it seems. But Calvin Ridley he's getting. I'm trying to pull up his target share right now on Sleeper, but I'm very slow to that punch. I don't know.
It's all right, bro. We can just sit here and vamp, dude. There's no reason. I mean, we got time, Josh. There's no reason that I cannot just sit here and talk about how much time we have. And in fact, I can even hit this sounder. I don't remember if it's good or bad, but
praise the great oink oink oink.
That was an amazing sounder. Shout out. Have I bought you enough time, or do you need more?
Yep. No, I mean, I'm looking at his target share. And so going back week 1, 11, week 2, 8, week 3, 7, week 4, 2. But he got hurt, I believe. And he had gotten a touchdown in that week. And then last week, and then this week, 8 and 8 targets. So he's getting the targets. It's just that, he hasn't been getting that room he needs. He's also gone up against 3 solid pass defenses, according to Sleeper: Kansas City, Houston, and Atlanta. Buffalo as well, in Buffalo. And then Indy and the Colts, or Indy and the Jags. We've already talked about it just being kind of a weird situation there. So yeah, I don't know. I'd buy him at this point if you can get him for a good price.
All right, Calvin Ridley.
I eat everything on the pig except the squeal.
Moving on, Josh, to a former
Buy!
Moving on, Josh, to a former Jacksonville Jaguar, the Uncle Ricoist, Uncle Rico to ever Uncle Rico. This is quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Potential rest of the season starter, based on the rumors we're seeing on our phones. The Gardner Minshew, still quarterback 33. He had 55 attempts for 33 completions on Sunday, 329 yards and a tud. He also had 4 turnovers, 3 picks, and a lost fumble. And his next 2 opponents, Josh, talking about stingy defenses, are Cleveland, who just rocked San Francisco Niners clock, and the New Orleans Saints, who have had a good defense for years and years. So obviously, Josh, you're very biased. You love yourself, Gardner Minshew. If you could try and make yourself unbiased for a second, Gardner Minshew turned the ball over a lot. There might be some growing pains here, and he has 2 really stingy defenses the next 2 weeks. Are you sure you want to buy Gardner Minshew now, or maybe save him for once he's more in his groove? You can sell him now to buy him again later.
Well, if you try to sell him, you're not going to get a whole lot based off this last production, but I do think that with him petitioning for the NFL to change the uniform regulation so he could wear jorts on the field, it is going to be a buy situation. 16 touchdowns per game, and that's my unbiased opinion since you asked for it.
Sure. All right. I mean, selling the situation, he could be a drop. I mean, you don't have to. You're not always getting value.
Yeah. If you need him based on bye weeks, yes, buy him. Just because he has an opportunity to be a starter for the rest of the season. So if you have somebody who has a later season bye week, or maybe he's a little banged up themselves, a la Deshaun Watson, or I'm trying to think, like Trevor Lawrence, pick up Gardner Minshew, stash on your bench, because he does have that. Top 10 QB in a week kind of capability. And so it's just a matter of finding the right matchup for him.
All right, Josh, moving on to... Oof. That's all the time we have for in buying and selling our hogs on the HAWG Market. Josh, it does look like before we end the segment, though, you have some stats here?
Yeah, so you got your hogs at the market, and I've got my dogs and my hogs. So some dudes that are winning games, son. The dogs of the week. We've got Raheem Mostert, who in starting lineups helped 81.4% of teams win their matchup. Then Adam Thielen with 71.8%. Tyreek Hill, 70.8%. Amon-Ra St. Brown with 70.7%. And then Kyron Williams with 67.8%. So if you had any of those 5 guys, your chances of winning, or the chances that you won your matchup, were higher than 67.8%. If you have multiple guys from that list, congrats.
Ladies.
I had Hill and Mostert in the leagues that I won. Horrible at winning games if started, or the hogs in my list. We've got Jahan Dotson with 29.1%, T. Higgins, 33.7%, Amari DeMercado, 34.4%, Jerry Jeudy, 35.2%, and then Deebo Samuel, 35.4%. Deebo did get hurt, which is most likely why. And so if you started any of these players, odds, only 35% or lower won their matchup.
That's tough. Yeah, Dotson has been a huge disappointment. I, again, remain... and I drafted him in the redraft, in the Hood redraft league, and I almost traded a first for him in the Deflate These Balls league. I've brought it up multiple times now, but now my voice is scratchy for some reason, but I'm so thankful Jack did not take my first-round pick offer for Jahan Dotson, because that would be one sad puppy right about now. But that is tough. You only have less than a 30% chance of winning if you started Dotson based on this data pool. That's insane. Appreciate that stat, Josh. And I know the Skybusters himself will appreciate that stat, too. Are you ready to get the hell out of here, Josh? You want to hit Go Packers? Anything else you want to talk about? Or should we just say goodbye to all the lovely folks?
Well, I know I brought it up, but Garth, in this redraft league this season, is this your year? 12-0?
Josh, I mean, I've been doing my absolute very best to not talk about it. We do know it is an odd year. We do know, I mean, before the season started, before we drafted, before literally anything else happened, I was predetermined to get to the championship this year and then lose to inevitably whoever I'll play. Looks like I'm going to lose to Jeremy this year based on the current standings. Jeremy is that number 2 dog last time I checked. So, I mean, and you can tell this by Josh, I have the most points for in the Hood Redraft League, okay? And I also have the least points against. So no matter what, the gods and the planets and everything else that are lining, be like, Gar, we're throwing you into the playoffs. You're going to make the ship like you do every odd year, and you're going to lose like you have every odd year, but we're going to get you there. So, I mean, this is just like, I don't even have to try on odd years in this league. I'll make it to the ship and I'll lose. So, I mean, that's my fate. But I'm going to enjoy the ride, dude, being 12-0.
So I had not looked at the points against. You have 100 less points against than like the next closest, or like 97.
And it's so interesting because I don't need that. Like I said before, I have, it's a much closer race. Like I have, I think 30 more points for the next closest, 30 or 40. But I have the most points for. So like no matter what, I'd be winning most of my matchups. Maybe I'd have one bad beat or 2 by now. And then to have the least points against on top of it, I mean, nothing matters, Josh. And we have games against the media, and I've won all 6 of those as well. But it's like, it's predetermined, Josh. I will make the playoffs, I will make the ship, and I will lose. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
That's not being cocky. That's just
Bradley's struggle busing with his 815 points against. Then he sees Garlic with 537.
Yeah, Brad is having a really tough year in the redraft league this league. What'll they do next is a great question, Brad, while you're wearing that dumpster fire medallion. All right, Josh, for real this time. I know we've got a little bit over, but it seems like you were happy to chat today. So, we'll just go with the flow. We'll give the people a couple extra minutes of great content. Are you ready to go, or do you have anything else up your sleeve?
No, I'm good.
All right. We love you, beautiful folks, and we'll talk to you later.
Go Packers.
Hope it didn't get robot-y at the end here. I think we finished in time, but
Let's go, robots. Go Packers.
The sound is starting to pop in my ear. But I think we made it to the end of the show. We'll see. Ooh, there's a new TV show called The Riddler, Secrets in the Dark. That looks like fun. If that's DC, that's got to be on HBO. New show, The Riddler, Secrets in the Dark. Maybe check it out. Okay. As always, there's an Easter egg here after the song, and it's from the beginning of the show. Love you, and goodbye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to 15.
Wow, that was very good. Thank you.